Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie, and today I'm going to be going over 10 books where I believe that the secondary character or characters within that book deserve a book or even a series on their own where they're the main focus. I feel like a lot of books that I read have phenomenal secondary characters. Sometimes they're even more interesting than the main character, and I think that does tie into some things of, you don't know as much, you're not in their head, so they become a bit of a mystery, which makes them that more intriguing. And these 10 books are just some of my favorite secondary characters where I just want to constantly have content from just a secondary character. That's all this is fun secondary characters. So without further ado, I'm going to start the list. So the first book that I have is the Harry Potter series. For me, there's a couple of different secondary characters I would love to see from. The first and foremost being the Marauders. I would love a series about the Marauders. I also would have loved to see the Harry Potter series in the perspective of Draco Malfoy. I feel like he did not get enough time and character development where I think there was so much opportunity, being that him and Harry were different sides of the same coin. And I just think that's a lot of wasted potential, that he didn't really get a real redemption arc, or we didn't get to see how he was dealing with things internally throughout the entire series. Up next, I have We Hunt the Flame by Hafsah Faizal, and the character I want a book series from is Tahereh. Tahereh is just the epitome of the swashbuckling comedic role. And as I'm thinking about it, I feel like a lot of these characters are the comedic role, which is great because who doesn't love just that comic relief and have them add layers? I do think in book 2 we got a lot more of Tahereh, but seeing as this series is from Nafisa and Nasir's perspectives, I think getting Tahereh's opinion and thoughts over the story, even post-story, pre-story, I'll take anything from Tahereh's perspective. Just because he's that interesting and complex, I think he would be a complex character to read about. And I just think he would be really fun. I'd honestly watch him just do random antics to piss off Nasir, because I think that'd be hysterical. Up next, I have the City of Brass trilogy. For this, I would like more of Dara. Now, Dara is our broody genie who really just wants so badly to do good, but he is just this evil djinn. Not evil, he's not an evil djinn. He's seen as this evil slaved djinn, and he just can't get out of that perception. I loved Dara in this series. The three main characters, he was kind of a main character, but we did get more of Ali and Nahri, which was great. They were both phenomenal characters. I just wanted more of Dara. I want Dara during his time before City of Brass, and I want Dara's during City of Brass, after City of Brass. I want all of the Dara because he has this like dry sense of humor where he says something that's funny, but he doesn't realize what he's saying is funny. And I loved that about him. He was just like this old grumpy djinn, and I would just follow his antics and watch him yell at people the entire time to get off of his lawn or his lamp, whichever. Either way, Dara was super fun. Up next, I have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, and for this, I really want Haymitch's perspective. I really loved Haymitch's character, and I really loved Haymitch's character within the films as well. I think it was extremely well played, and I just want more of his games and his life before the games. I know we get a glimpse of that in Catching Fire before the Quarter Quell. We get kind of how he won his games because he won the previous Quarter Quell, but I would have liked his perspective opposed to Katniss's perspective, because Katniss at times can be a little one note, whereas Haymitch, he has all of these layers, and I think him retelling his story or even us following his story would have been better. And I would have preferred Haymitch's life opposed to Snow's early life in the ballad book that came out a year or two ago. I would have much preferred Haymitch because he is just fun. He was that comic relief throughout these books, and he was still just that vital character that you really wanted to root for the entire time. Up next is a little bit of a weird one, and that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I want more Jax, and what makes this interesting is Jax is actually getting a spin-off. Later this year, Stephanie Garber has announced there is Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'll put the cover up here, and that is, I think, Jax's story after the events of Caraval. Either way, I haven't read the book, so I have no idea how much I'm gonna like it. But you were introduced to Jax technically in book 2, which is Legendary. And I just loved his character. Very similar to Altair. He was kind of our villain, but our comic relief at the same time. And he was just such a unique character. And I loved whenever he came up on the page. Him and Tella's relationship was just so much fun. And I want more of him, and I'm gonna get more of him. So I'm really excited that this one's actually coming to life. Up next, I have the Nevernight series by Jay Kristoff. For this, I want more of Ashlyn. I really like Ashlyn, and I know that a lot of people don't like Ashlyn, which is fair. But for me, I think getting Ashlyn, I want her origin story. Her and her twin, I really loved their characters throughout the series. I think they were so well written, and I liked Ashlyn the most of the twins. And I want more of her. I want to see her origin story. I want to see even Nevernight throughout her perspective and how she saw Mia, because I think that would be a really cool perspective to see. I can't go too much into it, and I'm trying not to go too much into these due to spoilers, but a lot of things happen, and I think getting Ashlyn's perspective of this story would add a lot of depth to the world, to the characters, to just so much. Up next, I have the Shatter Me series. Now, this one I know is a very common thing, and that's Kenji. I love Kenji. He is our huge comedic relief. We get a novella from Kenji's perspective, which is I think it's this one, Find Me, over here. And I think the next one's Warner that was just announced. We're getting his perspective. But Kenji, he's our big comedic relief, but he also plays the role of best friend really well. And I loved watching him and Juliet's relationship as truly platonic friends grow and evolve throughout the books. And I think that's not done enough where you have a male and female best friendship that doesn't evolve into a romantic relationship. I think that their relationship was so well done, so well written. I was never like rooting or shipping them as a couple. I just loved their friendship. And I wish more books had a Kenji, because Kenji's just OP. Up next, I have Renegades by Marissa Meyer. For this, I have a couple. And it's not even specific characters. It's more, I'd love to see the original superheroes and the original supervillains. I'd love for there to be like a novella series on each of their origins and, how they came to be the hero and the villain that they were. We get little one-off sentences on why they were the way they were and how they came to be within the role that they were within this series. But I think actually watching that happen would be really intriguing and can be really well done. Whereas, you can see this as like the Avengers, and then each one, you have your Iron Man, your Thor, your Captain America, each superhero, their story. And I love that for this series, because it was so good, and I want more of this world. I have Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows. For this one, I really just want the perspective of the dragons. This world has just so many dragons, and they have so many dragons like ranging from different sizes and shapes, colors, powers, everything. Like, I think one of my favorite things about this is there's little dragon pets that just sit on your shoulder, and I think that's adorable. But I think getting the perspective of the dragons, and I can't go into why, but with what happens within this series, getting the dragons' perspective, and because they are intelligent, they don't necessarily speak, but they are intelligent creatures, and I would love to have their perspective on what was happening. And I just think that that's not really a perspective we get in a lot of books. You know, you get, you know, the humans, and you occasionally hear from animals, but getting like an intelligent creature's perspective on what humans are doing and how it's affecting them, I think could be really interesting. And the last book that I have is The House on the Cerulean Sea by Jay Klune. I want a story of everyone. I just want everyone's backstory, life story, everything. This book was adorable. I fell in love with every single character that existed within this, and I want to follow Lucy for his entire life. I want to follow, you know, Linus and Arthur throughout their lives. I just want all of it, because they're just so cute and so wholesome, and it would just be such a feel-good story that I want all of it. So that's gonna be the last one that I have. And those are the books that immediately came to mind when I thought of secondary characters that I fell in love with. Let me know down below in the comments some other secondary characters that you just love to see break out on their own, you know, do their own little solo album, because there are so many really well written secondary characters. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and the occasional Sunday, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye!